Jennifer's Body is a 2009 horror comedy film written by Diablo Cody and directed by Karen Kusama. It follows best friends Jennifer and Needy as Jennifer becomes possessed and is forced to kill and eat boys to maintain her beauty, as Needy attempts to put a stop to the murders. The film was set up for success. Cody had come off her Oscar win for Best Screenplay for Juno just a year earlier, and Megan Fox, portraying the titular Jennifer, was Hollywood's hottest new sex symbol. However, the film was a box office flop. It grossed $31.5 million at the box office and received a 34% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So, what happened? In short, Jennifer's Body's intention as a film and the marketing it received portrayed very different messages. In fact, the marketing undermined the very purpose of the movie itself. The movie critiques neoliberal feminism and cinema's exploitation of women through the use of exaggerated, objectifying cinematography, stylized dialogue, and deviation from horror tropes. But its misogynistic and male-targeted marketing obscured these intentions. In this video, I'll dive into the ways Jennifer's Body uses satire to make its socio-political statement, and how the disjointed marketing tanked its chances of reaching the right audience. Let's get into it. Intro. What is neoliberal feminism, and how does film exploit women? So, I think it's first important to explain what exactly Jennifer's Body is critiquing, given the wide variety of definitions of feminism, as well as the many different kinds. Catherine Rottenberg, who coined the term neoliberal feminism in her 2018 book, describes a neoliberal feminist as distinctly aware of particular inequalities between men and women, and yet she accepts full responsibility for her own well-being and self-care, displacing structural problems onto the individual. This type of feminism celebrates sexual liberation and is centered in capitalism. Jennifer's Body argues that this movement is deeply flawed and unhelpful to the larger feminist movement. Further, film as a medium is notorious for exploiting women's bodies through practices such as the male gaze. The male gaze is a style of filmmaking, particularly present in cinematography and editing, that places focus on the female figure for purposes of male desire. As Laura Mulvey, creator of the term, says, the male gaze projects its fantasy onto the female figure, which is styled accordingly. Mulvey implies that female characters are often styled and positioned purely to fit the preferences of heterosexual men watching. Jennifer's Body aims to condemn both neoliberal feminism and the male gaze, and the larger commodification of women that both of these structures promote. Part 1. Cinematography. The male gaze is used to an exaggerated degree in this film to satirize its usage in popular cinema, therefore highlighting how problematic it is. Two well-known scenes include centrally framed and slow-motion shots of Jennifer walking down the hallway, as well as swimming naked in a lake. Slow-mo and center framing are both hallmarks of the male gaze. However, the context of these scenes redefines why this misogynistic approach is being used. As Pashkevich says in her article, Repeat to Remake, if Cody and Kusama's film moves away from typical gender representations in horror cinema, it does so not by overtly criticizing or opposing them, but rather by duplicating and exaggerating them. The scene in which Jennifer swims naked is used for irony. The previous scene depicts Jennifer's victim's father vowing to hunt down whoever killed his son, but he assumes the killer is male.
I'll cut off your nutsack and nail it to my door! Like one of those lion door knockers rich folks got. That will be your balls!
When we cut to Jennifer's clearly feminine figure in the water, the juxtaposition plays as ironic. Similarly, when we see Jennifer walking down the hallway, the entire school is in mourning for the football player Jennifer murdered. Everyone surrounding her is dressed in dark colors, and just before Jennifer enters the frame, a student can be seen wiping his eyes. The contrast between Jennifer's exaggerated confidence and the student body's grief is played for laughs. If the audience is amused by the male gaze rather than pleased by it, the film has accomplished its mission of ridiculing the technique. Part 2. Dialogue. Jennifer's Body employs a stylized dialogue throughout that screenwriter Cody is famous for. However, as author Martin Fradley argues, Jennifer's dialogue specifically characterizes her as a hypersexualized and highly cartoonish image of neoliberal femininity. In the bar scene early on in the film, Jennifer is confident in her sexuality and even uses it as a tool.
No, come on. Don't be so JV needy, they're just boys. Morsels, we have all the power. Don't you know that these things? These are like smart bombs, okay? You point them in the right direction and shit gets real.
And later,
Hey, how are you gonna get alcohol? I'll just play Hello Titty with a bartender.
This exaggeration of sexuality mocks neoliberal feminism's emphasis on sexual liberation. Through this dialogue, Jennifer is characterized as someone in control of her sexuality, to an obscene degree. Jennifer uses her body for individualist purposes, reflecting the individualist stance of neoliberal feminism. Later, when Needy fatally stabs Jennifer in the chest, Jennifer says,
"My tit."
To which Needy responds,
"No, your heart."
Jennifer's line is a comedic way to react to one's own stabbing, as well as a manifestation of her obsession with her figure. Getting the audience to laugh at Jennifer's hypersexuality prompts him to understand that Jennifer's characterization is satire. Part 3. Horror Tropes. Jennifer's Body further critiques neoliberal feminism and the commodification of female bodies by deliberately adopting, and then subverting, classic horror tropes like the monstrous feminine and the masculinized final girl. The monstrous feminine is a concept created by Barbara Creed, which suggests that female monsters are almost always terrifying because of their sexual or reproductive qualities. At first, Jennifer seems to perfectly fit this definition, falling into Creed's category of the femme castratrice, a woman who literally or figuratively castrates men. As Creed says, the femme castratrice is transformed into a psychotic monster because she has been symbolically castrated. That is, she feels she has been robbed unjustly of her rightful destiny. In this case, when rock band's Low Shoulder tries to murder Jennifer, they symbolically castrate her, and she must go on to symbolically castrate all men as revenge. However, Jennifer deviates from the monstrous feminine in one way. She is not abject. A monster must be truly unnerving and disgusting to look at for it to fully fit into the monstrous feminine trope. By nearly fitting into this role, but diverging slightly, the film makes a statement about how even in her most grotesque state, Jennifer must remain beautiful. This insistence on beauty satirizes the male gaze's focus on appearance and rebukes it. Jennifer isn't the only character who destabilizes horror conventions. Needy's transformation also subverts one of the genre's most rigid gender roles, the final girl, a role conceptualized by Carol Clover in 1992. Clover's theory claims that the final girl must become masculinized at the end of the film before taking on the killer. To quote Clover, "If the early experience of the Oedipal drama is perhaps ideally, enacted in female form, the achievement of full adulthood requires the assumption and, apparently, brutal employment of the phallus. The helpless child is gendered feminine. The autonomous adult or subject is gendered masculine. The passage from childhood to adulthood entails a shift from feminine to masculine." In Needy's case, the, quote, "brutal employment of the phallus" is a box cutter, and the, quote, "shift from feminine to masculine" is the shedding of her pink fluffy prom dress and the donning of a sweatshirt, military pants, and heavy boots. As she takes her box cutter to Jennifer's house and prepares to stab her, Jennifer remarks,
Do you buy all your murder weapons at Home Depot? God, you're butch.
Jennifer's mocking of Needy's newfound masculinity undermines the trope, denouncing the idea that one must be masculine to be powerful. Furthermore, Creed asserts that the final, quote, "purification of the abject" is crucial to most horror films. However, in Jennifer's Body, the monster is not eradicated. Jennifer dies, but since she bit Needy, many of the powers transfer to her. Because of this, Needy becomes not masculinized, but lies outside the gender binary, what Judith Jack Halberstam describes as the monstrous gender. This transfer of power also takes a stab at the neoliberal feminist notion of overcoming adversity on an individual basis. The fact that the monstrosity does not disappear when Jennifer dies, but rather transfers to someone else, implies that the monstrosity itself does not belong to one individual, but to the collective. It's systemic. The film refuses to support neoliberal feminism's belief that social problems can be eradicated through personal transformation. Part 4. Marketing. So there it is, what Cody and Kusama were really trying to do with Jennifer's Body. It's a smart critique of neoliberal feminism and the male gaze, but an audience entering the movie with the wrong mindset could entirely subvert this vision. And thanks to the marketing team, that's exactly what happened. For instance, the synopsis on the back of the DVD reads, "Sexy temptress Megan Fox is hotter than hell as Jennifer, a gorgeous, seductive cheerleader who takes evil to a whole new level after she's possessed by a sinister demon. Steamy action and gore galore ensue as the male student body succumbs to Jennifer's insatiable appetite for human flesh. This description doesn't just miss the point of the movie, it becomes an extension of the power structures the film wants to tear down, transforming Jennifer into a marketable commodity rather than satirizing the commodification. The trailers for the film only serve to misinform audiences further. 2 versions of the trailer were created, a green band trailer approved by the Motion Picture Association, and a red band trailer that served as more of a director's cut. The trailers are edited with significant differences that impact the optics of what kind of movie Jennifer's Body really is. The green band trailer presents the film as a teen horror drama, placing Jennifer and Needy's friendship troubles at the center. The text interspersed between shots reads, "In every school, there's one girl every girl wants to be friends with and every guy would die for." This description clearly places us in the high school realm, reaching a teen audience. Opening shots of Jennifer swimming naked in a lake, as well as a scene showing her seduce a male character, confirm to viewers that this film is for a heterosexual teen boy audience. The emphasis on the drama of the movie asserts it as a straight horror film, rather than a horror comedy. The red band trailer does a better job of demonstrating both the horror and comedic elements of the film. It begins with more frightening sound effects, coupled with text that reads, "Behind her smile, under her skin, inside her body, lives a demon." From here, the trailer takes a more comedic turn. Nearly every following scene is a campy soundbite, ending with this scene of Needy's boyfriend, Chip.
Ladies, pepper spray? I can take care of myself. I've been using the Bowflex.
The juxtaposition of Chip's self-assuredness with him getting dragged off, layered on top of an upbeat 80s song, perfectly encapsulates the true ironic tone of the movie. This trailer attracts audiences well-versed in horror, while letting them know that the film aims to satirize these conventions. Had this trailer been the official one, audiences would have been better prepared for the smart and campy movie they were going into. Conclusion. In the end, Jennifer's Body wasn't the over-sexualized, boy-targeted movie that marketers wanted it to be. Cody and Kusama created a nuanced feminist satire that critiques misogynistic and neoliberal power structures through exaggerated cinematography, stylized dialogue, and the subversion of horror tropes. It's a film that knows exactly what it's doing, even if higher-ups didn't think that message was marketable. And while this misunderstanding hurt its initial reception, the film lives on as a cult classic, finally embraced by audiences who can see past the marketing and appreciate the sharp critique that was always there.